Hi everyone, it's Ryan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making some soft baked pretzels. All right, to start off with, I am going to get my yeast going in my mixer bowl. So I have 1 cup of warm water. It is around 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I'm going to be adding 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. And I'm going to mix that up just to get the sugar to start to dissolve. And the sugar is going to kind of help feed and activate the yeast along with the warm water. So to that, I'm going to add 3¼ teaspoons of active dry yeast. And there are, if you have different kinds of yeast, there are conversions that you can use, like with the rapid rise and all of that. You would just need to look that up online. That was almost perfect. And I'm just going to mix this up. And we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes and let it get foamy. If it does not start to foam and raise up in your bowl, you need to start this step over because that means that your yeast is likely dead. So get a fresh packet or whatever and start over if your yeast does not start to bubble and rise here in the next 5 minutes. All right, so as you can see, this has gotten nice and fluffy. And so now we are going to add our other ingredients. So I am actually going to weigh out my flour. I need 12.5 ounces of flour, which is around 2.5 cups. If you do go ahead and use the cup measurement, go ahead and save maybe like the last ½ cup out, because sometimes depending on where you live, it does not always need all of the flour. You might need more or less flour than my recipe calls for. It just depends, like I said, on where you live. And I'm actually going to scoop a little bit of that out because I don't know for sure that it's going to need all of that. And now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. I try to wait until I've already added the flour to add the salt because sometimes the salt can actually kill the yeast. So I try to add it right on top of the flour. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of melted butter. And we are going to need another tablespoon of butter later on, but I will tell you about that when we get to it. So I'm just going to turn this on and let the dough come together and see if I need the rest of this flour and how much more I need. So I'm actually going to take the dough hook off and kind of bring all of the flour together by hand, just because sometimes with these stand mixers, when it's a small amount, it doesn't like to get everything incorporated very quickly. So based on how this is coming together already, just by me doing that by hand, I don't even know that I'm going to add the rest of this flour. Okay, so now that this has come together, I'm gonna let the mixer run for about 5 minutes, and I might set up the tripod and let the camera go so you can see it. But it'll start to pull everything off the side of the bowl and it'll get nice and elastic. And I'll show you whenever we come back, or whenever I come back and start talking, what you're looking for with your dough whenever it's done mixing. All right, so it's been going for almost 2 minutes. I am going to add a little bit more of my flour. I did weigh this and I had held out about 2 ounces. So I'm going to add about 1 ounce of flour and let this mix in. Okay, I'm gonna feel it once again. It's feeling just a little bit sticky, but I think it's gonna be okay. So in total, I added 11.5 ounces of all-purpose flour. So I am going to, sorry, I'm gonna go ahead and let this continue mixing. I think we have about 2 minutes left on this, and it is looking good. I'm sorry, I keep turning it on accidentally. All right, so this has made a very nice dough, and I'm gonna show you. Actually, might need to go just a little bit longer. I'm gonna try to do the window pane test, but it is breaking apart a lot more. Yep. So I think I'm actually going to add that last ounce of flour and let it mix for a few more minutes. All right, let's check it again and see. That is better. It has started pulling away from the side, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off. Get off my dough hook here. And I just have a large stainless steel bowl because I discovered the other day when I was cleaning our oven that we actually have a proofing setting, which we've lived here almost 8 years, and I did not even know that. So I am going to I'm just kind of rolling this back on itself so that it has like a nice smooth surface. And I'm just going to put this in stainless steel bowl. I'm going to cover it with plastic. And I am just going to put this in my oven to proof until it has doubled in size. And if you do not have like a proofing setting on your oven, just put it in like a nice warm place. I always just put it kind of in front of near a space heater, and should be good to go. So I will come back and show you what this looks like after it is doubled. All right, so I just took this out of the oven where it was proving, and as you can see, it has about doubled in size. Behind me on the cooktop, I do have 10 cups of water and 2/3 of a cup of baking soda boiling so that whenever we get these shaped and everything, we dip it in that, put it on the pan, and then put it in the oven. Um, my oven is also preheating to 450 degrees right now. So I'm going to take just a bowl scraper and get out half of this dough. This is going to make about 12 pretzels. So I am going to split this into about 6. It's not going to look like a ton of dough to work with, but these are not huge pretzels. If you wanted to make larger pretzels, you could just obviously cut these into larger portions and just get less pretzels out of it. So these are somewhat similar. This one needs a little more. I'll take from the larger ones. So to shape these, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start rolling these out. As you can see, I did not like re-knead the dough or anything. I am just taking it right out of the bowl and doing this. So roll one just a little bit, grab another one, and roll. And we're gonna do all 6 of them that way. This helps the gluten stretch and not tear. So you are stretching these out so that you can make them into the shapes. You don't wanna do too much too fast because it will just tear. And I don't have a floured surface or anything. And as you can see, this is not sticking at all. So that's what you want. And it's okay, like I said, if they're different sizes, it will be all right. These are delicious. I used to make these and sell these at my shop every Friday. I'm pretty sure it's been a while. But I'm pretty sure it was every Friday I made pretzels, and they sold out pretty much every Friday. They were a hit. So then I'm going to go back to my first one that I started rolling, and it's stretching a lot easier now. And I think what I'm going to do is try to get it about the width of my board here. Maybe a little shorter. You don't want to get them too thin. And I'm just going to lay them back over there. And you're just gently stretching the dough. See, that one was shorter whenever we started. It just needed a little more time to relax. So, sorry if this is boring. I just like to do them in sixes because that's pretty much what will fit on my sheet pan. So I'm going to do these 6, and then I might go ahead and dip these. That way you guys don't have to, well, I know this is an edited video, but that way I can get them going quicker. So I think I did these 2 out of order, but that's okay. They've rested long enough. So once we get this last one, we will go ahead and shape. And I have done these long enough that I do have a fast way of doing them, but I will do them. I'll show you my way, and then we'll go a little slower. So you just pick it up, let it twist, and attach it. And then you just put it on your sheet pan. And then, so what you can do if you don't want to do it that way, is pick it up, twist it, and attach it. And you just want to shape it into the normal pretzel shape. And if you wanted to do these as sticks, you could do that. You could just cut each one of these into like 3 or 4 pieces and go from there. Or you could do little bites and cut them into like little 1-inch strips. However you want to do them, depending on what you're just making these for yourself, do them however you want. Or if you're doing like a party, I always like the little pretzel bites. So I would probably do them just in little like 1-inch strips for a party. I might do the second one with a variation. We'll see. And like I said, the dough is not super sticky, so it is fairly forgiving. So now we're going to go over to the cooktop and dip these in the water. All right, I'm just giving my water a stir to make sure that none of the baking soda has gone to the bottom, and all of this is fine. It will wipe off. So I'm just going to take my first pretzel that I did, drop it down in there. I have a little spider. Make sure it just gets coated good, and then put it back on your baking tray. And these are just silicone mats. You can use parchment paper if you want to, as long as it is rated up to 450 degrees. It's a very hot oven that these are going into, so you do want to make sure that you have the right parchment paper. You don't want it to catch on fire. So this is just a really quick dip. This is getting a head start on the rising process as well. And we are going to go ahead. I have some pretzel salt and some everything bagel seasoning that I'm going to use. And I'm going to do some of these in cinnamon sugar as well. So we will get those on here in just a second. Hopefully, we'll see real quick. Last time I made them, I forgot to put the salt and seasoning on ahead of time. I probably should have done that as I was dipping them because some of them are losing their stickiness. I'll grab that real quick. Okay, so here I have the everything bagel seasoning, and I'm just going to sprinkle it directly on. I am going a little heavy-handed because they will rise a little bit, and who does not love this seasoning? Okay, and here I have some actual, it is pretzel salt, and I am going to do, like I said, some of these cinnamon and sugar, but I like the salty sweet, so I am going to put salt on all of these, and we will do the cinnamon and sugar after they come out of the oven. I'm just sprinkling them with the salt. Like I said, you could put this salt on immediately after you dip them to make it stick a little better. So these are going to go, like I said, in a 450-degree oven for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn them around and then go another 4 or 5. And I'll come back and, of course, tell you exactly how long they take. All right, so for this second one, like I said, it's super simple, but I wanted to just show you. If you wanted to do them in sticks, I would probably cut each one of these in 4, but I am going to do them in little bites. So I'm going to cut each one of these into 8. And it's going to be the exact same thing. I'm just going to cut all of them. I might cut them a little smaller. We'll see. I'm just going to cut all of these, dip them individually in the water and baking soda mixture, and then I am just going to season them however I want and bake them. These will probably take probably only about 5 minutes or so because they're fairly small in the oven. So I'm gonna finish these and I will come back and show you what everything looks like whenever it is done. All right, so these just came out of the oven. These came out first, so they're a little bit cooled. These literally just came out of the oven, so they're really hot. Like I said, I was gonna do some cinnamon sugar as well. So I have some melted butter here, and I am just going to brush it over top. If some of the butter fall or the salt falls off, it's totally fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. So I just like to brush them all over, and if you wanted to, I used to fill a, and you can just pour this over if you want, but I'm doing it like this. Um, I used to fill a pie, like a glass pie pan with butter and melt it, and that is what I would dip. I would actually dip the pretzels in the butter and then dip them in another pie pan of cinnamon and sugar. So it was coated everywhere. And those were my favorite. So you can do the same thing with the little bites if you wanted to. That's what I'm going to do with a lot of them. But I'm probably going to throw them in this bowl of butter and then fill a Ziploc bag with cinnamon and sugar and do them that way. So I'm just going to put them over here, plate, so you guys can see them a little better. There we go. There are the soft pretzels. If you make these, comment down below, and I will put in the description a link to a lot of the things that I used in this video. Check back for more videos later. Bye.